Hello guys, my name is Salah, and I make short videos about everything now. Let me tell you a story about a human who had been tracking the evolution of our species for hundreds of years. But it's only recently that we've begun to understand the bigger picture. Join us as we look back at the incredible journey of humankind from single-cell organisms to modern man. In today's oceans, microscopic bacteria and single-cell organisms drift in the water. Some of these tiny creatures develop the ability to live in freshwater, venturing out onto land. Over time, vertebrates evolved, eventually giving rise to amphibians. And after more millions of years, the first reptiles appeared. One reptile, a small shrew-like creature called Proterosaurus, is considered to be the first mammal. They had larger brains than Australopithecines and were capable of more complex thought. They had a larger brain and smaller teeth than Homo habilis. They had noticeably smaller brow ridges and a more prominent chin than Homo erectus. 12,000 years ago, humans began to domesticate plants and animals and settled in one place. They built houses, then cities. They developed governments, then religions. They invented writing, then computers. They explored the world, then space. They waged wars, then started to dream of peace. They created beauty, then destroyed it. They invented art, then burned it. They searched for knowledge, then destroyed those who sought it. Humans changed the world, and the world changed them. Homo sapiens had fully developed language abilities and created cave paintings and other works of art. But despite all of our advances, we are still driven by the same instincts that have kept us alive for so long. The need to find food, the need to protect ourselves, and the need to reproduce. Perhaps the greatest challenge facing humanity today is to find a way to live in harmony with the world around us. For millions of years, we have been the ultimate survivors, but our future now hangs in the balance. They hunted large animals with spears and other weapons and gathered wild plants for food. Homo sapiens lived in small groups and were active both during the day and at night. They used sophisticated tools made of stone, bone, ivory, and wood. They buried their dead and cared for the sick and elderly. Homo sapiens were highly adaptable and soon spread across the globe. They also had a larger brow ridge and a sloping forehead. Homo erectus was the first of the hominins to use fire and was probably the first to bury its dead. They lived in a variety of habitats and used spears to hunt. Homo erectus was highly successful and lived across Africa, Asia, and Europe. Homo habilis used rudimentary tools made of stone and bone and hunted small animals. They probably lived in small groups and were active during the day. Over millions of years, early life forms began to emerge. It wasn't until the dinosaurs died out at the end of the Cretaceous period that mammals began to flourish. During the Miocene epoch, the apes split off, with one branch eventually leading to humans and the other to the great apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, and bonobos. Small protoprimates swung through the trees in the lush forests of the Eocene epoch. Australopithecus afarensis is famous for its ape-like face, hairy body, and long, sloping forehead. It had a brain roughly the size of a chimpanzee's and used tools such as hammers, anvils, and chippers. Australopithecus walked upright on two legs, but couldn't run for long periods without tiring. They were small, about the size of a house cat, with big eyes and large, mobile ears. They had long tails and fur, and they lived in groups. Their most distinguishing feature was their grasping hands. Their fingers were long and slim, perfect for catching insects. And their thumbs were opposable, allowing them to grip branches as they reached for tasty leaves. As the Triassic period came to an end, the dinosaurs began to dominate. But life was still hard for small mammals. The primate group split into two: the Old World primates, which included the apes and monkeys, and the New World primates, which were the tarsiers, lemurs, and lorses. By now, the forests had vanished, replaced by grasslands, and the forest-dwelling primates were forced to adapt or die. Round to point 4. Million years ago, the genus Homo emerged. Homo habilis means handy man. Homo erectus was the first hominin to migrate out of Africa. As the last ice age began, around 115,000 years ago, Homo sapiens emerged in Africa. As the ice sheets receded, the climate warmed and the forests returned. Homo sapiens flourished. So here we are, the product of millions of years of evolution, living in a world of our own making. Thank you for your valuable time and support. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to receive all that is new.